All right, welcome back, everybody, for a new episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those books that you can still find in those cheap boxes, tucked away in those dollar bins, those yard sales, flea markets, half-price books. These are the cheap things you could probably still go and scavenge hunt and have some fun. Getting some things related to things going on in the comics, news, rumors, announcements, things like that. Granted, some of these might be worth a little bit of a premium, but by and large, these books are still pretty cheap, and they're cheap for a reason. But if you enjoy comics and you enjoy reading comics, I'm just trying to give you some things you can look for that, like I said, is tied into some things going on in the actual comics that come out each and every week. So hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. I know we just wrapped up our 2,500 subscriber giveaway, but we are already well on our way to 3K. So once we hit that milestone, we will be giving away even more of my stuff. But with that all said, we'll get there when we get there. But if you want to know what books I have for you this week to go check for in those dollar bins, just hang out for a few seconds and I'll be right back. All right, so first up, we're going to look at a couple of books that came out last week. One of which was Captain America, that Cold War kicking off, Cold War Alpha, I believe. And in that, Bucky, the Winter Soldier, it forms an unlikely alliance with the White Wolf. Remember, Bucky was the White Wolf in the Black Panther movie. Yeah, it's just a fun, weird little thing. But now these two characters are kind of making an uneasy alliance. But again, this happened in the pretty much the outset of this Captain America Cold War story. So go and check it out, and you can see where these two again are going to start working together as far as things go here. And with that, yes, Bucky was the White Wolf in the movies. As a result, it caused this book to spike back in the day. Black Panther #4 from that Marvel Knights era of the late 90s. Yes. So that caused this to jump in price at that time, hitting like 20, 25 bucks. It has since been forgotten about once again, and you can find it tucked in those boxes because, again, while they called Bucky the White Wolf, he wasn't really the same character. The character of the White Wolf was this adopted uh, character that was adopted by T'Chaka, King of Wakanda. So kind of a half brother, adoptive brother to T'Challa, and villain, opposites, all that stuff. But now you see him working with Bucky in the comics, so maybe they're bringing him back. Maybe they're going to do a little bit more with him. Who knows? But if you just want to go and grab this because it relates to stuff going on in the comics, you can still find this out there. Even on the onlines, you can see $10.50, $15. Copy sold for as cheap as $6. So once again, this was 2025 solid a while back, if not more. That's just where I remember the price lingering for a while. I know it probably hit higher than that at times, but that's where it was at. Asking prices, you'll still see some of those old asks out there. There are some 2025s out there, but by and large, there's more $8, $13, $15, that kind of range, because it's still a interesting little first. But again, one to go keep an eye out for when you're digging in those boxes. I know you might not see a lot of Black Panther books in those cheap boxes these days, but if you do, keep an eye out for #4. Now, here's a team you do see a lot in the dollar boxes. I've seen them plenty. I generally only gravitate towards the Jim Lee covers on that initial run, but I'm talking about Alpha Flight, because Alpha Flight's coming back. Not only is the Alpha Flight coming back, they're apparently coming back with two teams. It looks like they're splitting up Alpha Flight. We're going to have two different versions. Who knows? They'll probably end up coming together and we'll have one Alpha Flight once again, but we'll see how this story plays out. But they're announcing in the next couple of months, like FOCs and whatnot, that there will be a new Alpha Flight series starting up once again. So, yes, you can go look for your Uncannies for the first appearance, but that's a pricey book these days. What is it, like 120, 121? I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's right in that range, maybe 119, 120. First Vindicator, and then you got Alpha Flight showing up back in the classic, X title. But you could still find even #1 for this 80s Alpha Flight, because they made a lot. These are out there. Yellow cover jumps out at you. Granted, a lot might be beat up, but for fun, you can go get the original Alpha Flight. That's what I'm saying. But I mentioned before, usually when I see Alpha Flight books, I flip through and I'm generally looking for, like, was it 51? I think it's got a Jim Lee cover. Then there's one in the 80s. I just know them by sight, but there's a couple Jim Lee covers. So that's why I grab those Alpha Flight titles. Outside of that, I'm not the biggest Alpha Flight fan. I can admit that, but still kind of a fun little thing you can go and find for, for cheap. I mean, the first dynamic double size issue. Why not? This one, still, it's pretty cheap, even online. Look, $6.50, best offer on $10. Copies sold for asking prices $10 to $15. So you're not going to get rich if you find one, but it's still kind of a fun book for you to go and look for. And if you can't find this one, this first issue, about the next volume of Alpha Flight. This next volume is when they introduced Big Hero 6 eventually, like in that 15 era, like range, like a little bit later in the run. But this run of Alpha Flight in the late 90s also is one you could find out there in those cheap boxes. And it is still very, very cheap. But if you want to grab it for fun, give it a read, go ahead. $7. That's $7 for Alpha Flight 1 and -1. Because Marvel had the fun idea to give -1 comics to all of their titles. Not only do you get 0 issues, you get half issues, minus numbers. Whatever. But -1 and 1, $7 together. -1, $3. Issue 1, 99 cents. So it's even $1 online. That's at ASCII prices, $7, $5. The whole run, complete run of this series 1 through 20, $25 with no bids yet. Like I said, there's some the Big Hero 6. If those issues are in there, it's worth it. It looks like it's 16 and 17. And it was in the teens. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head. But there is another fun thing for you to go and dig for. Go look for some Alpha Flight books because, hey, they're coming back. Maybe they'll stick around for longer this time. Now, the next couple stories kind of relate to the same issue and same kind of topic. And we're going to get into a little bit of Moon Knight. So in Moon Knight, the current run, we've seen Tigra kind of come back into his life. And yeah, so now they're officially dating. So Tigra and Moon Knight are getting together here in the most recent issue, issue 22 of Moon Knight. See, Tigra hunts with the Midnight Man. We'll get to the Midnight Man in a second. We're going to start off first with this bit, where again they're together. You can see their full relationship starting. She does have her son William. Well, we'll get to him also in a minute. But if you want to see the starts of this, because this isn't a new thing, this isn't the first time this has happened. These characters have gotten together before, and if you are a collector of those odd little things and you want to go and see that tie back, you can go and find that in West Coast Avengers. So go dig in those boxes because I know you could find some West Coast Avengers in there. So go find West Coast Avengers 27. You got double Hawkeyes here. But inside, this is where you can see Tigra and Moon Knight. Again, first time around. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not advocating that these should be key books or anything like that. I'm talking about having fun, collecting comics, reading comics, and enjoying comics. And the best way to do it is when we're talking about buying things for cheap in the cheap boxes. So you're not investing a lot of money. I'll show you the prices so you get some idea of what they do and what they sell for, what people ask for. But by and large, that's not why I'm doing this. I mean, I might have done that for a while, but after 236 episodes of doing this, this is the angle I'm going with. Enjoyment of the hobby. So with that said, this book, you could find this for cheap, even online. Look, $3, $5. No, you're not going to get rich finding West Coast Avengers 27. But maybe you find it and give it a good read. $3, $4. That's what asking prices are for. 1987. Good luck. Just see if you can find it. And if you do find it, tag me. Tag me on Instagram. I love seeing when you guys find stuff, especially books that I talk about. Because, like I said, I just like talking about comics. So I'm happy to see that you found it, and hopefully you enjoy it. That said, we mentioned her son, William. We got his first, too. If you're interested in the little Tiger boy, we can give you his first appearance, too, because he first showed up. And if you like Baby Spec, Avengers the Initiative number 35, the last issue of this run. This is during Siege. I don't remember that storyline. Pretty cool cover, too, here with Tiger there holding the flag. But inside, we get introduced to the little tiger guy, her son, William. So we got the little tiger cub, little tiger baby. Pretty cool if you're into the Baby Spec thing. Again, not a lot of interest in this. Well, who knows? Who knows where this is going to go? If Tiger and Moon Knight stay around for a while, and who knows? We might become a minor player in the title. Maybe a little sidekick. Who knows? But that said, look, 368. That's what the one sold for. I put the one sold because a lot of times these Siege books, they sell in lots because it's just not sought after event, I guess you would say. So they just generally get chunked out and sold in lots. But asking prices for this one, $3 to $7. So again, it's not an expensive book. I'm not saying it should be, but if you want to know and you want to get that first appearance of the little tiger cub, William, there you go. Now, getting back to this issue, it's not just about Tigra. It's also about the Midnight Man, the villain, because apparently there's a new Midnight Man running around in Moon Knight. I haven't been keeping up totally on this title either. You're just kind of catching up here and there, especially when I see news stories and articles and things being written and garnish my interest. So I go back and look. But Moon Knight apparently adopts this new villainous identity to, again, fight, become a vigilante again. Like you can't. Moon Knight's not being Moon Knight, not enough. Apparently, Moon Knight has to also be the Midnight Man. So here in this story, it's revealed that Mark Spector is the Midnight Man, and Tigra finds out that that's what he's been doing. So he's got another identity to throw into the pile. All right. Now, being that this is Mark Spector and not the original Midnight Man, you might find it weird, but here, first appearance of the first Midnight Man is Moon Knight #3. And this book was another one of those hot spec books back in the day when it was announced that there was an actor going to be playing this character in the Moon Knight, Disney Plus show. And there was. He didn't dress up as the Midnight Man, but I forget what his identity is. But there was a character who was the guy who eventually became, Midnight Man in that show. Caused this book to spike. This was like hidden $40. I remember this was like $25, $40. Long forgotten. Those days have long passed because it was pretty divisive, that series, Moon Knight. I still enjoyed it, but it was what it was. A lot of people were throwing money around at those times during COVID. So this one can still have those weird sale prices. Look, it could sell for $6. Best offers on 40. So it's still in that weird, some people care, some people don't care kind of range. So the prices could be all over the place, as also evidenced by look, $8, $5, but buy now at 20. That's where you're finding, by and large, most of them are kind of in that 10 to 15 kind of range. But there are still some higher asks out there. But I'm just telling you, keep an eye out for it. Maybe you find this for cheap once again. It's a pretty cool run of Moon Knight. So go look for it. All right, enough on Moon Knight. I don't have a lot more. I only got one more news story, but then a few different books to talk about as that relates to that story. Is we got more announcements last week of some more things they're going to be bringing back, rebooting stories, rebooting characters, and two things they're bringing back. New Robocop, new Stargate. We'll take these one at a time. Robocop, they already tried to redo once with Joel Kinnaman. That one didn't fly so well. So maybe we can get a better. I don't even know if I could say the other one was bad, but maybe we'll get a more popular version with this new reboot. Because I'm a big fan of the Peter Weller version, the Paul Verhoeven. Also, Detroit. Got my Axel Foley shirt on here, but I want to see future Detroit, OCP, all that fun stuff. We'll see if we get all that. Granted, first appearance of Robocop is this oversized, magazine-sized Robocop 1, The Future of Law Enforcement. That's technically the first appearance. This came out in 1987. Probably not going to find this in a dollar bin because, one, it doesn't fit. Two, it's gotten pretty pricey. But what you may be able to find when you go digging into those dollar boxes is not the first appearance of Robocop, but for fun, maybe you find that Marvel series from 1990. Yes, this Robocop series started off with what you might expect Robocop to be, fighting crime and criminals. And then as the story went on, there were robot dinosaurs, these weird serpent characters, whips, and there's all kinds of weird supervillains and things that get cross paths with Robocop. It wasn't really the Robocop you remember seeing on screen, but interesting, weird little read. 1990 version. I think it ran like 23, 24 issues. Probably should take a look at what that final issue goes for. It's probably a good one of those last to know issues. But just talking about the run in general, as you can see here, $3, $6. These are also randoms. Some issue ones for $3 or $10, and then there's a random issue 5 sold for $6. It just, again, prices could be all over the place. You'll see a lot of lots out there as well. Here's an example of number 1 asking $12. 9.6 of number 1 wants 115, so that's not too bad. Maybe you can do all right if you find a number 1 out there. And then the whole 1 through 23, the complete 90s run, $120. Well, if you want to go and build out a whole 23 issue set, for $1 a piece, maybe you can. Maybe you can get yourself $120. I don't know. But if you can't find the 1990 Robocop, keep an eye out for the reboot. Well, I guess one of the reboots. Boom also did a series of Robocop. It's kind of cool. These covers are actually pretty nice. 2014, 12-issue run at Boom. This is issue 1. I'm going to show you a couple more. Issue 2, issue 12. I really like that 12. Looks like a Tom Whalen. I don't know if it is Tom Whalen, but it does look like a Tom Whalen type of cover. Also like the split there on number 2. I don't know. Cool covers. I kind of dig it. These also, not that expensive. You want to find them out there. Look, copy number 1 sold for $1. Even online, sold for $1. Asking prices could be all over the place. Look, $2, $8, $8 random issues. You might find a lot of the whole series. But again, prices are pretty inconsistent. I'm not telling you to go and invest in these books. This isn't about investment. I know this is for comicbookinvest.com. This isn't about investment, though. This is about, again, enjoying comics. Let's read comics. Let's have fun collecting. Let's go searching and hunting and having fun looking for comics. At least I have fun doing those things. So hopefully you enjoy that as well. But there's a few things you can look at for Robocop that you might find in those cheap boxes. Now, something you might find in the cheap boxes, and it's worth looking for, because there really isn't much to do with Stargate. We're not going to get to SG-1. That's a whole different animal. I wasn't a fan. Not saying I wasn't a fan, but I didn't watch. So in that sense, I was not a fan of SG-1. But I do remember the first movie. And that first movie was adapted back in 1996 at Entity Comics. And there are 2 sets of covers. We're going to go with the regular covers first. Here's issue 1. Classic Egyptian, mythos and all that stuff. Art was okay. Pretty cool covers on a couple of these. I like issue 2 as well. Just to give you a sense, 4-issue run. I think it's basically adapting the movie for the most part. You can find these things selling for $11 for number 1, and then look, issues 1 and 2, $20 recent sales. So it looks like they want about $10 a piece. Asking prices could be a bit higher. There's a lot of 1, 2, and 4 asking $80. There's an issue 1 that wants $35 and an issue 1 that wants $30. So while copies have sold for cheaper, asking prices are starting to be on the uptick because of these announcements, I guess. Now, apart from these covers, there were also limited edition, like movie themed covers as well. These have some foil on them, so I think they're pretty snazzy. Pictures didn't come out very clear because of the foil. They're kind of dark, but you can see there's like basically the titles in foil. It looks like silver foil for Stargate. Here's issue 1 with the special edition, and then there's special editions for the other issues as well. Again, foil on the covers. I kind of like number 4 there. It's pretty cool. These also sell pretty well. You can see set of 1 through 4, best offer on $130. Issue 4 looks like it grabbed $20 on its own. Issue 1 grabbed $17. So the limited edition or special editions do a little bit better than the regulars. Also interesting as far as the actual sales go. Asking prices, however, look, issue 3 you can get from my comic shop for only $4. I don't know if they have more, but they did have at least that one as an example. And then there's that issue 4 that I kind of like, $11 out of the UK, but there's like $90 shipping on that. I don't know if that's a typo or not, but that's kind of crazy. And then you can see the whole run of 1 through 4 for $108 plus. So maybe you find these things, maybe you can do something with them. I don't know, but at the very least, you can read them and get ready for this new Stargate series. And with that, that's all I got for you this week. I know it seems like a little bit of a light week, kind of sped through these a little bit, but hey, like I said, I don't know. Just picked out some things that I thought were interesting, some books that I thought that would be fun to go and look for this week related to stuff going on in the comics, because we should be reading comics, enjoying comics, enjoy this hobby, because it should be a hobby after all. At least for me, it's a hobby. And with that all said, thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you checking this out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, tag me if you find any of these things. I love seeing you guys' collections. Outside of these, give me some suggestions of things you want to see, things you think we should all be looking for as well. Let's keep this, conversation going. Let's just enjoy this hobby, enjoy collecting. And with that, I'll be back with more content soon. All right, later.